Hello, we are live today. I'm going to be talking to this wonderful couple who is an African-American couple that has moved to South Africa from the United States. Thank you so much for joining the live stream today. Those of you who are online, welcome. I know I have some early people who've joined. Kwame is on, Mo Vegan Africa, Ata Wusu. Thank you for joining. I know people are going to slowly start coming online. I was really excited when I came across this couple. YouTube suggested their video to me and I clicked on it and I was very, very interested because here was an African-American couple that has moved to South Africa. Now, we always hear stories about people moving to Ghana, people moving to the Gambia, people moving to Tanzania, but we don't often hear about the stories coming from South Africa. We know a lot of people are making the move back to the continent of Africa, repatriating, some going for the first time of their lives. And it's always wonderful to hear everybody's story. So the couple I'm going to be talking to today is Mr. Mark E. Blanton and Dr. Latasha R. Blanton. They are the founders of The Real South Africa. Now, it's a travel company on a mission to show South Africa in a more luxurious fashion. And they do it by featuring its culture, couture, and a different type of lifestyle in South Africa. They're both entrepreneurs and they have quite a career history before making their move. Mark did serve in the U.S. military. He also served in the U.S. Secret Service, while Latasha owned her own private practice as a doctor of physical therapy. And I'm excited to hear more about their story and learn more about their journey moving to South Africa and what it's like being in South Africa. So let's welcome them to the show. Hello.
Hello. Hello. Thank you for having us, Ivy.
Thank you for making the time to come on today. I'm really excited to speak with you. We've got a few people who've joined the live stream. I'm sure people will continue to join. Hello, everybody who has joined the live broadcast today. Thank you for taking the time to watch. We're speaking to this wonderful couple. They're going to share their story about moving to South Africa. I know I often talk about Ghana here, but it's nice to hear stories from other African countries. So I would love to hear, first of all, what made the two of you feel a desire to move to South Africa?
Go ahead, Tasha.
Well, I would say the desire to move to South Africa came after he came for a visit in 2010 with the Secret Service, and he doesn't get excited about too many things, but while he was here, he called me and he was so excited about what he found, and I was like, who's on the phone this excited? Because he never gets excited. So the whole next year he met some friends here and they just continued to invite us. You should come, you should come, you should come. So in 2011 we came for Christmas, spent 10 days, and as soon as I got here I was like, why have I not been here before? I understand why he was so excited. It was definitely everything he tried to explain in words and then everything he couldn't explain in words. It was perfect.
Wow. Wow. So when you were there with the Secret Service, how long were you there? Like, did you instantly fall in love right away, or it took some time for you to realize it was a place you could consider living?
Well, it was preempted by, we watched this documentary. It was called Living the American Dream in South Africa. It was a documentary. We only saw it one time. And it was like, whoa, it can't be that good. And then shortly after that, Vice President, at the time, Vice President Biden was coming here for World Cup. And so I got selected to come, and obviously I wanted to come. And I was like, wow, this is Africa. Now, keep in mind, I've never been anywhere else on the continent. And I've been everywhere else in the world because of my jobs, from the military and, of course, U.S. Secret Service. So when I got here, I kind of had an idea because of that video. But then when I got here and it was World Cup, the whole world was here, and South Africa was on full display. And I was just like, this doesn't make any sense. How nice this is, everything that I'm seeing, Black excellence all the way, hosting this big world event. It was great. So that's kind of how it started. And then from there, it just, subsequent visit after subsequent visit, and we just fell in love with it. And here I am today.
Wonderful, wonderful. So it wasn't hard for him to convince you to make the move?
I don't think, no, it wasn't hard at all. There was a situation where it was like, when I saw what the possibilities were as far as like lifestyle was concerned and the food and the people and just the environment itself, when we started contemplating together, is this a place we could possibly live? We just continued to visit, and every time we visited, it became a situation where when it was time to leave, I turned into a little angry monster because I didn't want to leave. So it became a situation where it was like, I'm happier here. We need to think about this really, really hard. And then we just started making a plan in 2013. And then, 5 years later, we made the move.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So what did your friends and family think when you told them that you were going to make this move to South Africa?
Well, it's funny. They didn't know why we kept going back and forth to South Africa. They would ask questions about it. Maybe just being polite. I'm not sure. But we came here, I think, in 2012, and we stayed for a couple of months. And we were fortunate because we owned our own company. So we stayed for a couple of months just to see, like, all the stuff we've been talking and what we've been seeing was real. So we came on a trip. We was fortunate enough, stayed a couple of months. So then when we went back, we was like, yeah, we're definitely going to start making, plans to go ahead and come. But our families, they were none the wiser. They knew we was going all the time. Sometimes we would leave. We wouldn't even tell them, like, oh, we're in Africa. They were like texting us, and they're like, "Where are you?" Yeah, and we're like, "Yeah, we're in Joburg. We're in Cape Town, or in Mpumalanga. We were somewhere." So our family didn't really understand. The only one that knew was my daughter, and back then she was little, like 12, 13.
Yeah, she's almost 15 actually.
Yeah,
but yeah. So the family situation was, like you said, we didn't really take their cares into consideration. It wasn't about their life; it was about ours, and it needed to be about us if we were going to make the move. I mean, we can't live our life by committee. Those are his words.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like we took like a vote and said, "Hey, what do you guys think?"
Yeah.
We told them at the last minute. We're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, we're leaving to move there." I think we told them like the week before we left.
Yeah. And that was in
2018. So it really, we don't really think about what they said. We understand how they feel, but the ones that have been here absolutely get it now. But, we're not trying to convince them to accept our choices.
Right. So with the two of you being in the medical field and in military Secret Service field, how did you decide you were going to start a travel business?
Oh, that was very easy. We had been probably, before we left, we had probably been here about 12, 13 times. Easily.
Wow.
Yeah, we did, because all our, we was doing very well on that side, but we were more happier when we were here. We had friends, we developed relationships, and so forth. So every time we came back, or even when I was in the States, people thought I was in South Africa. So they asked a lot of questions. What about this? What about that? And I would tell them, and it went extensive, to the point where everybody, like I said, everybody thought I was in South Africa all the time anyway. Mm-hmm. What happened was we kind of wanted people to have a similar experience that we had. We wanted them to see what we had seen. And with that being said, we started a company so people can, book trips through us and do what we do when we're here in South Africa. So that's kind of how we ultimately got started. It started with a few people, and then it just grew and grew and grew to where now people are like, if I want to go to South Africa, we just give you guys a call.
Awesome. And so once you started, that means you had something to easily transition to. Once you moved to this new country, you didn't have to really worry about trying to find work because you had your business you were doing, right?
Correct.
And with COVID-19 now having affected the travel industry, how are you managing?
Well, like I said, it's a different animal down here. There's a lot of things that you can do. So what we're doing now is literally people are calling us now. We're doing a little bit of marketing and so forth, obviously through our YouTube channel, The Real South Africa. and people are finding us, and people are setting themselves up for trips for when COVID is over and the borders are open here in South Africa. And so what we're doing now is just, helping people find their way here on trips. And then, of course, there are those that are looking to move, to do what we have done because they've heard our story in some ways. So we just we spend a lot of time on the phone. So, helping people find their way to Africa.
Okay. Now we have a comment here. Someone from Texas, John Mooney's asking, when is the best time to visit South Africa?
Well, there is no bad time, to be honest with you. The weather is always great, except we got reverse seasons here in the southern hemisphere. So I would say like in June, that's when it's cool. The highs during the day is like 60. The lows, and this is in Fahrenheit, the lows are like in the upper 40s, mid 40s to upper 40s. But besides that, pretty much any time of the year is a great time. A lot of people like to come to Durban simply because it's right there on the Indian Ocean. All the beaches are there, several different beaches, and then it's warm. It's warm most of the year. It's never really cold, and so forth. So, and like I said, South Africa is even in the wintertime when it's allegedly cold, you can go up north to Limpopo and it's still warm. So there's really no bad time. It's just based on the package that you pick.
Okay, all right. We have someone who says, I've been in SA for 17 years, visit the townships in SA if you want to feel the vibe, if you really want to relocate and make a choice. Do you agree with that?
I would say yes. Yeah.
The townships definitely have like their own little vibe, and it's definitely a lot of fun when you get a chance to go down in there and party with locals. So, I mean, we're lucky enough that because we live here, we have the opportunity to kind of do both. So we can, and when we bring our travelers, we do the same thing with them. So we show them the luxury side of South Africa, and then we also take them to the township as well, because it's a well-rounded experience. So yes, he is correct. We do love the townships.
Yes.
It's fun down there.
Yeah, especially, and I had to add to it when we go to like Soweto, Southwest townships, and there's other townships throughout South Africa, but that's just one of the ones that most people know. And like I said, it's a whole nother animal down there, which is good, a good animal. Yeah, it's fun.
Okay. Now we have Judy Jones who says, I heard someone stated that African Americans feel more comfortable with South Africa because of the similarity in history with apartheid. What do you think about that?
I would say that I think most African Americans come here because, first of all, they're included in everything. It's not like you gotta okay, what club I gotta join or whatever. It's the moment you get here, they just gonna call you brother and they're gonna call you sister. That's just what it is. Unless you exclude yourself, you're included. You'll find yourself involved in all the cultures that are here. There are several different cultures that are here, all Black, but they're different and distinct in a lot of ways. The good part about it is being an African American, you are included. So I would say being part of the majority for the first time in your life, and being included and being free in that arena gives you a strong level of comfort. Great.
A comment here, definitely like the idea of attending the University of Witwatersrand and SA for postgrad before the pandemic. Dope podcast, Ivy. Thank you for your comment, Lawrence. We have a question here from Damian Carr asking, how is the cost of living?
Cost of living, we usually tell people that if you have any means as an African American to come to South Africa, you'll come in at the top 7% of the population. That just goes to show that because the dollar goes so far, the cost of living, we tell people anywhere between $25,000 and $35,000 a year, you can pretty much live
pretty well.
Pretty well.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a comment here from someone saying, great to see you guys on the continent. Can't forgive you for not moving to Ghana, but I like you and your vlogs anyway. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was funny. And then a comment from DC, hi family, why not West or East Africa? So they're basically asking why you chose South Africa over the West or East.
South Africa chose me, so that's how I feel. I don't feel like I actually made a choice. I think it chose me, and I just accepted the call to be here. So,
and I would say that it was my experience that I had here. I could have been so many different European countries that I've visited, so many South American countries and Central American countries that I visited. None of them, I never felt like I needed to spend more time there than besides work. But South Africa was extremely welcoming, and to this day, I feel like every day is a new day and a chance to be African versus just being African American.
That's good. That's good. I want to remind everyone that we're watching a conversation with this couple who moved to South Africa from the U.S. If you're just joining, I'm talking to Mark Blanton and Dr. Latasha Blanton. They are the co-founders of The Real South Africa, which is a travel company giving travel experiences to people who want to come to South Africa. You can reach them you can watch their YouTube channel, which is The Real South Africa on YouTube. You can visit their website, which is therealsouthafrica.com, for more information on their travel company. That person was just asking about their YouTube channel. Yeah, it's simply The Real South Africa. You can find them. They have some really interesting videos going around South Africa and showing you the beauty and just the discovery of going from place to place. Because even me, I've never been to South Africa. My sister went to Cape Town, I think it was like a year and a half ago, and she just raved about how beautiful it was, the scenery. She just said she didn't even want to leave. She was so disappointed when she had to go back to Canada. But it's definitely on my list of places to go. So I was enjoying seeing you guys going around different places and the beauty of the beaches and stuff. So I love that you've become a couple showing us what it's like, because we see it in the media. It has a tendency to show a lot of the negativity of African countries. You hear a lot of the bad stuff that happens. You hear about conflict, and the media doesn't always show us the beauty. So it's great that we're all getting to tell our stories about these countries. And let's see, who else here has a comment? Oh, Lauren says, any recommendations for which languages to learn, such as Xhosa, did I say that right, or Afrikaans? Okay. Some African languages, I think, are hard to learn. Personally, for others, it may be easy, but personally, I tried learning some, and it's tough. Have either one of you tried to learn any of the languages?
Well, it's funny. I'm a little older, so I have a hard time picking up the new language and whatnot. However, English is spoken throughout down here. Everybody speaks English, but they do speak. I would say they don't speak in American English. So all the slang that I normally use, like if I said a cool cat, they would literally think I'm talking about a cat. Yeah, that's cool. We would know we talking about that's a cool cat right there. So they don't get a lot of the lingo that we use. However, we do speak English. So, and anywhere you go, everybody speaks English. Afrikaans is normally for the white South Africans. The white South Africans, that's what they speak. You'll find some black South Africans that speak it, and of course, you got Indian people here as well that speak it. But for the most part, if you want to speak an African language, I would say most people would say Zulu. Zulu is the most popular there. It's in that culture. There's more of them than anything here in South Africa.
Okay. Yeah. And then someone's saying, do you sponsor other African destinations? So are you doing anything outside of South Africa?
I would say that we could, but the answer to that question is no. We feel that Africa has, especially South Africa, has way too many destinations, too many things to do. And I know we Joburg. If you ever been here, you need to come to Joburg, Cape Town. You got to do that. But we also like to do smaller locations, smaller locales, like Durban, Port Elizabeth, things along that line, places that you've never heard of, but the people that live here heard of, and they're like, that's where they go. So we do that as well.
Okay, okay. And then someone has a question here about what business could the diaspora do in South Africa if you have between 5,000 to 10,000 euros to invest? Any idea?
It's called anything. It's literally because the exchange rate for the euro is, I think it's roughly around, don't quote me, but it's 20 let me see, it's 20 to 1 right now for the euro. Yeah, so that means that 1 euro gets 20 South African rand. There's all types of businesses that are looking for investors too, and then of course you can come down here, link up with several different business incubators to say, hey, this is what I got, this is what I want to do. You could buy a franchise, you can buy into an existing company. There's so many things you can do. As some people say, it's kind of like the wild, wild west for business down here. You just got to get here.
Okay, okay. Then someone else was asking about business ideas, about what business ideas you could recommend that could benefit South Africa.
Well, that's a good question. They do have a critical skills list. I think it's on their website, the embassy website. Just look up critical skills, and those are like positions that they need. As far as business is concerned, again, they are wide open. Keep in mind they only been a democracy, a new democracy, for 26 years. So they're still building, and there's plenty of opportunities here and whatnot. So and then of course, unfortunately, when things changed over, a lot of people left. A lot of white South Africans, they left again. So that leaves a void from agriculture to manufacturing to hospitality to even including tourism and so forth. So everything is here.
Okay. And then someone else is asking, how do you guys support yourselves in South Africa?
I guess I answered. Yeah, obviously we do tourism on this side as well. And keep in mind, we were entrepreneurs prior to this, so we had a large company of physical therapy companies, and we sold those and so forth. So we're okay in that regards. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you sold the physical therapy companies.
Yeah. We sold those, and like I said, we I guess we got paid from those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't gonna get it for free.
Okay. And then can they use this opportunity to clear the perception about SA with respect to crime? What is the real South Africa? That's a good question, because I often hear a lot of stories about the crime, particularly when it comes to women. I hear about issues with respect to safety of women in South Africa. We hear about, things that happen to them, a lot of assault stories. So what is it really like when you're on the ground? Because with media can hype things up more than the reality. So you're there, and what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I would say, this is what I would say. We do have a large, not say extremely large, probably not like Ghana, but we do have a lot of expats that are here in South Africa, and we get together from time to time. We do, and just to talk about things, just to catch up, and then of course you meet with them, during the week. Like I'm going golfing with one of our friends tomorrow afternoon. Yeah. Anyway, long story short, it goes like this: when you start talking about crime, nobody is actually interacting with all this crime that we're hearing. I do hear these things. I see them on TV. However, I can say this. We do have a disparage in people who actually are earning money and people who are not earning money. And so forth. So in those areas, and it's not the majority of the areas. It's a very, I would say, a small percentage of the areas. And yes, they do have a lot of crimes. They have a lot of issues going on. But you got to keep in mind too that there is a burgeoning middle class here. So some of those people today that may be in a bad situation could be your neighbors, in a year or two, because they are getting into business, they're doing things, and they're moving faster than we've ever moved in the United States. But there is a crime problem. A lot of it is the reporting of it. There's a lot of things that happen down here that the white media put out and so forth. And then number two, you get a lot of Europeans that come down here. I mean, if you get on a plane coming to South Africa, you're going to run into a lot of mostly Europeans on the plane. There won't be a lot of blacks. It'll be mostly Europeans and so forth. So anything that happens to them, they make it seem like it's happening to everyone, and it's not. So personally, I haven't ran into any crime here. I mean, literally nothing. But like I said, I'm not saying that nothing couldn't happen, but I haven't ran into much.
Yeah. So this person's comment, what happens in South Africa happens anywhere in the world, including crime. I like that comment because there is crime in a lot of countries, but it seems like when it happens in African countries, it's reported differently. I mean, when someone plans a trip, you hear about someone saying, I'm going on a trip to New York. People don't say, "Oh, with the crime, are you gonna feel safe in New York?" People don't say that. They just think, "I'm going to the U.S. I'm going to New York City. There's crime there too," but they don't talk about that. But if it's Africa, they'll talk about it. So
all day long.
Yeah. So I'm glad that person made that comment. So there's a random comment here I want to address. I says, Ivy, the curtain behind you, I want one. Kareem, you're so funny. The funny thing is this curtain, this fabric, I purchased it in the market because in Ghana, you have the markets where you can buy, a lot of the African fabrics. And I took it to a seamstress to make me curtains. And I didn't even open the bag until I got home. And this was just before the lockdown. And then I went and opened up the bag to put it up and saw that she made one curtain this way and the other one the other way. And I was like, what did she do? Like, it's supposed to be. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to work with it because then the lockdown happened. We couldn't leave the house. So I just put them up and left them there. So it is what it is. A mistake has turned into something creatively different.
I like it.
Okay, so this question from XDMC says, did you consider any other places like Ghana or Uganda? What made you choose SA? I know they mentioned it earlier, but they may have joined late in the video. So if you want to just quickly answer that again.
My answer was that, South Africa chose me. It wasn't like I did not choose the other ones. It's just that when I came here, I felt the best. And I decided that I would answer the call to be in South Africa. So that was the answer.
And sometimes that's it. The spirit leads you to where is home. So you end up settling on where's home.
Exactly.
And this person wants to know, how was the healthcare system in SA?
I like it for a lot of reasons. First of all, for everyone is it's free healthcare, in the public hospitals and public hospitals.
I didn't know that.
Say again?
I didn't know that about South Africa.
Yes. So the average person, if anything happens to them, they can go to the hospital and get seen and have surgeries and things along that line. And one of the things that I like is the fact that we were in healthcare in the United States, meaning that we dealt with insurance companies, reimbursements, issues. People couldn't get the treatment they want because their insurance company says, no, we're not going to pay for it. Things along that line. But what I like here, because we have private health insurance for here. Very inexpensive. It's supposed to be a big deal. And it actually is, because now we get to go to, if something happens to us, we get to go to a private hospital, private doctors, a whole private system of healthcare. And we've obviously stopped by a few of the hospitals just to see what we were buying into, and they're fabulous versus just a public hospital like you would find anywhere in the States where you just, hey, where's the H sign? Go to that, go there. That's your public version. Yeah. Then there's a private version that you never ever seen. But here, they're here.
Okay.
Yeah.
A travel question for a 2-week vacation. Where would be the place to visit for the first visit?
Well, I would say it all depends on the person, because what we normally do, if somebody says, hey, I want to come to South Africa, if they know what they want and they can express it on in the email, then we know how to match it. But we try to have a conversation with them, because if some people, they don't know, and they'll say, yeah, I want to basically go here and I want to go here, and they're talking about 2 different parts of the country. Yeah. I want to go to the beach, but I also want to. I'm like, okay, so let's have a conversation, and then at that point we direct them, where to go for your 2 weeks. I would, a lot of times, because Joburg is just so vibrant, it's over the top awesome. A lot of times we recommend Joburg, but sometimes we say if you're going to come for 2 weeks, maybe you can go to Durban. We could organize that for you. I'll go send you to Cape Town or maybe somewhere else. If you say, hey, I want to go on some rural areas, we can send you out to Mpumalanga. We can send you out to Limpopo. We could do a lot. So a lot of it is based on the conversation because we want people who's flown so far to get here and spent that good money to get what they deserve.
Right.
Yeah.
And so this person here wants to know, do local people raise prices when they hear your American accents? This is something that happens in Ghana. It happens in other countries too. They hear your accent and the price is suddenly different in the market. So what's it like there?
I would say no.
That's great.
Well, and the thing is, because we speak, American English, usually they want to work with us. So you can easily, negotiate prices just because you have this accent. They don't do what you're saying they do in Ghana. So we don't have that problem here.
And plus, I just wanted to add to that. They do have most people go to retail locations, like regular retail locations. It's not, a market, you got to kind of look for the market.
Usually on the weekend.
Yeah, usually on the weekend you go to a market, but for most things, like literally like 95% of the things, you're going to a proper, grocery store. They got retail here is incredible. Between the malls and all the retail centers, the prices are clearly marked, and that's what the price is. That's what it is. Like you would if you was in New York or LA or DC. So it hasn't been a challenge for us.
Okay. And someone else wants to know if you've noticed a large influx of Chinese where you're located. I don't hear stories about Chinese in South Africa. I hear more about it in other parts of Africa. So I don't know if this question is something that they're familiar with.
Yes, I would say they're here.
I wouldn't use the word influx. Like he said, they're here.
They're here.
You would have to almost go look for them.
Yeah.
At like the China Mall, where it clearly says that's where they'll probably be, kind of thing. And as far as like the neighborhoods that they live in, like there's a few here where we live, but I won't say they're like an overabundance of. I know they're here. I just don't run into them in my everyday life.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, South Africa is really nice. And a lot of people, not just Chinese, everybody's trying to get here, especially those from Europe. They're here. At the end of the day, the Chinese people realize that too. And they do, find a way. Now they do come here in good numbers, like in the summer months here, you will see busloads of not South Africans, Chinese people on busloads coming to view this place because it's very nice.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Advertised as well. So we were talking, off the camera a couple months ago about how South Africa is advertised to other countries and how it's advertised to Chinese people. And it's advertised to Chinese people as this like oasis, but then you flip it and you're in the States or any other part of the world and it's advertised as like the place you should never go. Like, don't say the word Africa at all, but they look at it as like, we can't wait to get there. So we're just trying to show people that if they're coming, there's a reason why they're coming. That they're not coming because it's terrible. They're coming because there's something here, and we should be able to figure out what that is for ourselves.
Okay. Just a couple of comments back on the crime issue. Eminem Motive says, I'm South African, Sweden, living in Atlanta, Georgia. Plenty of crime here and very scary compared to Loxians in South Africa. I hope I said Loxians correctly. And then another comment says, Ivy, crime is real here. No doubt about that. You must always be watchful. Thank you for your comments. For people who are joining, I am talking to an African-American couple who moved to South Africa from the US. They have a travel company called The Real South Africa. Their names are Mark and Latasha Blanton, and they've been sharing their experience in South Africa with us today. Thank you for all of you who are here and those who are just joining in. This has been a really fantastic conversation, and I'm loving hearing so much more about South Africa. And let's go more into the comments. People are really engaging in this conversation. Thank you so much, everybody who's here. Somebody, Lawrence has another comment here. I had written a book about moving to Ghana, and in the book I have a section where I had recommended job searching websites. So he's asking if there's any recommendations from the Real South Africa for finding work beforehand as an expat.
I can tell you this, because obviously we're entrepreneurs, so we don't, didn't come to South Africa looking for a position. However, there are plenty African Americans here that work for government agencies. I know USAID is one that people tend to work for. I think the embassy and the consulate are entities, and there are a few other government agencies, U.S. government agencies that are here in South Africa that people actually work for. Actually, my old agency, the U.S. Secret Service, has an office here as well. So we primarily explain to people that they generally want us as African Americans to come here and create jobs. What does that mean? Start a business. What does that mean? They're willing to assist in a lot of ways to help you start that business. Basically, the support we never got in the U.S. when we started our companies. We never got, I must say, you can get here. And our first interaction business-wise here in South Africa wasn't the real South Africa. We had another business called Dream House Toys, where we actually opened up a toy store here simply because they didn't have my wife, she's a Barbie fan, and they didn't have black Barbies here in South Africa. So we worked with Mattel, and we actually had a 2-year deal where we were exclusive in selling black Barbies here in South Africa.
Oh, so that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Yeah. I have a friend who's doing he's working towards getting dolls into Ghana, because there's not enough black dolls in Ghana, believe it or not. It's like you go to the store and everywhere there's white dolls everywhere, and you're like, we're in a black African country, predominantly black African country, but there's no black dolls. It's like, it's just so weird, but yeah, that's great. That's great. So in saying that, the two of you are entrepreneurs, would you say that South Africa is an entrepreneur's dream, which is a question from DC?
I would say it is. That's my own personal opinion. It's definitely entrepreneur's dream. I just had a conversation with one of my friends who's also an American. She is from Kentucky, and she started an entire primary school here. So the simple fact that she came all the way from Kentucky as an education background, and she saw a need and she met it, that idea to open a school doesn't come lightly. So whatever you can think of doing, there's a pathway for you to get it done here in South Africa. There's too many things set up in place for you to succeed. There's not a lot of stumbling blocks like we have in the US, where you got to write a business proposal, you got to go to the bank, you got da. It's a lot easier process here, especially if they know that what you're going to bring to the country is going to employ other South Africans, and that's their whole goal.
Exactly.
This person says, I'm an African American looking to become an expat. I'm in IT and day trade as well. Therefore, I need stable power and high-speed internet. What is the situation like there?
We are currently in stable power, and we are currently on high-speed internet right now. Yeah. But no, to be honest with you, the one thing I will tell you, probably just like most African nations, that we do experience a thing called load shedding, which is, again, we had a call about that from somebody the other day. Load shedding is when they cut the power. It's all scheduled for like an hour or two a day, and it's not every day. It's from time to time. So we might have it this week, and then we might have it again for several different months. And then it's advertised, say, hey, here's the deal. Yeah. Most people usually use that time to go to sleep, take a nap, go do something else, and then the power comes back and so forth. But as far as high-speed internet, we got I think fiber. We got fiber. And here they call it uncapped. In the U.S., we would call it unlimited. So that's what we use and so forth. So yeah, it's here.
Okay. That's good. They do load shedding in Ghana too. Whenever there's any power issues, that Yeah, they haven't done it in a while though, but there was a period of time for, I think it was 2013 and 2014. It was pretty bad. So I am familiar with the load shedding. Yeah. So someone here wants to know how rent is. How is renting in South Africa? The prices for rent.
I think you can get a pretty good apartment if you were talking about renting an apartment, or you can rent a house. We're actually going to do a video on our channel speaking about that. We're actually going to go to the people who do all the renting and have a conversation so people can see it, see what we're talking about. But I think for a real nice apartment in a good area, great area with some, I would say you could probably get in something pretty good for like $400 to $500, and maybe $1,000. You're doing pretty well. I mean, you're probably bragging to your people at home for about $1,000. And that's gated security and all those type of things.
Okay. Now, when they ask for rent in Ghana, some landlords ask for a year up front. Some of them ask for 2 years rent up front. Yeah, it's crazy. I know people who've paid 3 years rent up front. It's insane. So what's it like in South Africa? What do they ask for up front when you're renting? I know in Canada and the US, they ask you like first and last month's rent, and that's it for renting. And then mortgage, of course, you put a mortgage down and then you have your monthly rates. What is it like there?
The same, first and last month's rent.
Yeah, put a deposit down, and you move in. They give you the keys and move in.
It's so much better.
Yeah, nothing here to report. That's just what it is. Yeah.
That's good. Someone says, thanks again. I'm a traveler at heart, literally, and I've traveled to many countries while I was in the military, and Djibouti was the only African country I've been to. So that's why I was asking. Okay, Damien was asking, I think, before about why he chose South Africa. I'm TX Ret DV. I don't know what that means. TX Ret DV. Is there any regulation for me to have arms?
Yeah.
He's a
regulation on. I'm just trying to read it.
Yeah, they're actually, everybody think, most of South Africa is still rural. A lot of them just call them villages, and there's a lot of that. So if you want to get away, you'll still have the services. You'll have your ShopRite or your Clicks, which is like a CVS. You'll have those amenities, gas stations, so forth. But trust me, there's a lot of open spaces here in South Africa.
Okay. All right. The questions keep coming in. Do locals discriminate against other Blacks like we hear and see on TV?
I would say, and I'm African American. I've never been discriminated against at all. Actually, I've been, hey, I want to talk to you, because you got to understand that basically everything that you see on TV in the U.S. for every show is here, and so they got a lot of questions about African American life. For example, all of us are rich. We all drive nice cars.
We all know Barack Obama, Michelle.
Yeah, so that's what they see, and so forth, and they don't know much about other African nations because that content doesn't get here, so they don't know who they are, but they kind of feel like they know who we are.
Yeah, it's true. Media really frames what people think, because it's the same thing in Ghana. There's a lot of local Ghanaians who may have never left the country before, and all they know is the movies they've seen. And so some of them think everybody has a big mansion, everybody has a nice car. They're going by what they might see in music videos. And so those people think things just come easy for everyone over there, and they think everybody's just, having this lavish lifestyle, and they don't realize that over there there's classes too. You have the people who are in poverty, you have people who are homeless, people who are middle class, people who are rich. So there's the mixture there as well that people aren't always aware of. So I can understand that, because there's people who would think as soon as they hear my accent, my Canadian accent, they're like, oh, money. So yeah, it's a good question that someone asked. Okay, let's see what else people are saying here. I want to retire in Africa, and this is a lot of good information, and it's changing my mind, but would like to know about medical coverage due to my age. You mentioned it a little bit earlier, but Maybe you can talk a little bit about that again.
Medical coverage here, even if you want to get private health insurance, even with your age, it's going to be reasonably priced, and you're going to get a lot for the money that you pay. So as far as getting coverage, it wouldn't be a concern if you have the funds to pay for it. It's reasonably priced.
Yeah, and from what we've noticed so far, there's no co-pays.
Okay.
No
co-pays, no co-insurance. Yeah.
And someone says, this is Black American royalty y'all witnessing.
Thanks.
We do what we can.
I love seeing Black couples, working together, doing things, having a vision. I think it's fantastic. So thank you for your comment, FBA Nigel. Wesley, sorry I'm late, Ivy, asked how long did they move from the US and why did they decide on SA? Did they look at other African countries? They spoke about this in the beginning, so this video will be on replay. You can watch the replay, and the answer is in the beginning of the video as to why they decided on South Africa. The short answer is that Africa chose them. South Africa chose them. But you'll hear the story of how they ended up there when you watch the replay of the video. And someone says, what is your vision for your touring company, and what do you hope to achieve with the diaspora or anyone that participates?
Oh, I can easily answer that question.
Yeah, that's a good one.
No, the actual vision, honestly, when we first got here, because we were okay, we just wanted to do some tours, maybe a couple tours a year, to offset some things, which would be good, because I plan on, and I do enjoy South Africa, sitting down at nice locations, meeting people, getting with my, different cultured people here. That's the best part about being here. But as time has went on, we just want to be a gateway, just want to be a bridge. We want to motivate some people who would never leave their hometown or their home state to just come to Africa. And I just don't mean South Africa. I mean, just come to Africa. Just come. I guarantee if you come once, you'll be like, wow, that was an experience that I've never had. So my vision is to be able to be a gateway for African Americans to say, okay, how do I get to Africa? Well, give us a call, shoot us an email, and we will sort you out. When you get here, the other part of our vision is to make sure that you have a very similar experience, if not better, than we had. And then so when you do go back, at least you can say, you know what? These people are pissing me off at work. I'm tired. I'm whatever. I'm taking a week off. I'm going to Africa just so you can feel better. You can reset and you'll feel better. I did it.
Yeah, you stood all the time.
So that's kind of like our goal. Just give people the option, a real option, a formalized option to come to Africa or to South Africa at least.
And then I'm going to add to that if they come here often enough and they have the right experience, we won't have to convince them to relocate to Africa. What will happen is that they'll come enough time, just like we did, and it'll just make sense to be here. And then the other thing that we do is actually help people transition, those that want to relocate. We do actually do that as well. Yeah. So that's like the expanded version, but the primary reason is just to get them here first, give them, be the bridge, the gateway to them getting here. And then if they want to transition, also be that caveat as well.
Yeah.
Okay, great. For those of you who are tuning in, I'm talking to the couple who moved to South Africa. Their YouTube channel is called The Real South Africa, and then their website is therealsouthafrica.com. They do travel and tours in South Africa, and then as Latasha just mentioned, they also help you transition. So you can send them an email to info@therealsouthafrica.com to get in touch with them if you are looking to make the move to South Africa or looking to book a trip with their company, once the borders eventually open, which might not be until either late in the year or next year, because I've heard that South Africa may not reopen until 2021, but it's good to plan ahead, because making a trip to Africa in general, it's not like, making a trip from Miami to New York, it's going to cost you a little bit more money. So sometimes you need the extra months to plan anyway. So you can get in touch with them, watch their videos, subscribe to their channel, The Real South Africa. You will enjoy it. I love watching their videos and just seeing the scenery in South Africa and just driving around and showing people the streets. And when I saw you driving, and I was like, Oh man, I don't know if I can get used to driving on the other side of the road, because in Ghana it's the same as it is in the U.S. and Canada, but South Africa has the reverse, like London, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I think I would just be so confused behind the steering wheel. How did you adjust to that?
I got tired of walking. I did. We got tired of walking. I said, no, literally, we were actually walking everywhere. We was in Cape Town,
Yeah.
and we was walking every day. We'd get up, we're out. We'd gone all day, but we were walking. And it got to the point I said, you know what, let's just go rent a car. And I got in the car. I got some driving skills. I'm pretty good. But again, it was the other side of the car. So she's on the left side. I'm on the right side. And so we were working as a team to make sure we was going down the right roads and things. But
Get over it.
Yeah, it didn't take long. It took about a week or so. By that time, I was fine. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'm glad you adjusted. I think I might take a little bit longer, but maybe one day I'll try. Because when I've gone to London to visit family, I can't. Just getting on the other side was just too confusing for me. But I'm glad you've made the adjustment, and that's a very good reason to adjust. Getting tired of walking. So
Get tired of walking. Yeah.
a comment here.
A week ago.
What's that?
It took me a little bit longer than a week. I had to practice like you're a new driver, just kind of driving like around the neighborhood and making sure I don't run up on curbs and hit people. So it took me longer than a week, but I got it. I'm good now. I'm good now.
Good. We have a comment from Mo Vegan Africa who says, like the video family, share and spread to the world about this amazing couple. And yes, they are amazing. I just love what they're doing. It's wonderful. We have a question here. Is there racial tension between Black South Africans and coloreds? These are conversations that we hear a lot about. Have you witnessed or experienced anything like this yet?
I would say, from my experience, is that, in the workplace, they mix, they do what they got to do. There is, and I'm just going to be honest with you, from what I've seen, and this is not what I, experienced, but what I've seen, sometimes the coloreds, they tend to be more slanted towards the Caucasians, and when they just do. Then you have like some colors that are really is either you're black, and then with all the love, like the different cultures, or you're white, and in the middle is, you're in the middle, so. A lot of the colors have a problem with their own identity because they don't know.
Just because of their history.
Yeah, because they don't know, and they do have the crappy part about it is they do have their own history as well, and it is not talked about. It's not acknowledged. People don't really notice their history, so they do need to work on that. And I think over a period of time, since it's only, like I said, 26 years, they will sort that out. But there is some division and whatnot, because they just I don't have a problem with them, obviously, because in America we have all types. Here there's not all types. They're just not.
Yeah, and these are things that the comedian Trevor Noah often he talks about, but he does it in a comedic way. Talking about himself being a person who's of mixed race, he talks about his life in South Africa. So we do hear the stories about people who are in between and how their lives are. So it's definitely something that I agree with you when you say it's such a young country, that there is still a lot that can change over time as we get towards a more learned society, as people start to talk more and learn more. Maybe the education system needs to be adjusted and adapted so that they learn more about each other, so there's not so much division. So great question, great answer. We have more comments here. Oh, the person saying colorism. Someone else says there is no racial tension in SA, just minute pockets of bigotry here and there. I haven't been there. This person says, do they have a page channel? So wait, so I was saying I haven't been to South Africa, so I don't know. But I hear stories. I have a friend I grew up with in high school whose family left South Africa. They were people who would be considered in between as well. And so they left and they moved to Canada. So, she was happy that they left and came. And in Canada, it tends to embrace diversity. Canada has its own issues with racism, but they do have they have a better life, she said, based on what they dealt with apartheid. She was happy to be in Canada. So, but I'm glad that the two of you are showing the positivity in South Africa, because it's definitely needed. People need to know that there is positive, that there is, this lifestyle that people are not learning about and knowing about, because we just hear about the negative news stories and about crime and about, conflict and issues that still are happening as a result of post-apartheid era. Someone's asking, do you have a page or channel? Yes, they do. I've mentioned it a few times, but I'll mention it again because perhaps you're just joining. They are The Real South Africa on YouTube. They have a website for their travel business, which is called therealsouthafrica.com. You can follow them on Instagram as The Real South Africa, correct?
Correct.
And then on Twitter, they are at rsouth_Africa. So you can reach them there on Twitter. But best probably to follow them on YouTube to see their videos and see, the places that they've explored. If you want to book a trip, go to their website and you can send them an email to get more information and go from there. But they are fantastic. I found them because YouTube's algorithm recommended their video to me one day when I was online. I was like, oh, who are they? And then started watching their videos, and I was like, oh, I want to talk to them. I would love to talk to them. I know I talk mostly about Ghana, but I also want to showcase other parts of Africa. I want to eventually start traveling to other parts of Africa and, showing it, and hearing people's stories, especially, people like yourselves who made the move to leave places like the U.S. and go to South Africa. I didn't ask you, which part of the U.S. were you in when you left?
We was in Northern Virginia, right outside of Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And it's so funny because people, some of the things that they talk about, like, I heard about this, like they would say, I heard in South Africa. Everything that they're saying, I've seen that in D.C., like pretty much everything that they're talking about. I'm like, did you notice that the homeless people under the bridge? Did you notice all the murders and the crimes and all the police lights everywhere? Did you notice it? And I can understand we can get desensitized and whatnot, but it's funny when people do call us, they're talking about Africa like it doesn't happen in the United States.
Yeah. Going back to business, I know you mentioned earlier that it wasn't that difficult for you to start a business and that there's some support there. This person, Mr. Hillary, wants to know what the process is for registering a general contracting company, agro-processing, supermarket, as I have my grocer's license. If you have the answer to that, or they could reach out to you by email. But if you have the answer to that.
Sure. Yeah. What we could do, like I said, you can reach out to us at our email, which you already displayed. We have several people that are I'm gonna use the term small business associations. They call them something else here, that would love to entertain that conversation. Because at the end of the day, if they can get you here to set you up in your supermarket, or something else that they might actually tell you about that you didn't know existed, ultimately you're going to hire South Africans, and that's what's going to happen. So that's why they're motivated to assist. And like I said, we do have a video on our YouTube channel, speaking about business with our good friend Derek. He's the one who helped us register our company many years ago when we started our doll store. I ran into him, and he was like, "No problem," and he took care of me.
Follow them at The Real South Africa on YouTube. Find their videos. They talk about all different types of topics. And you can also reach out to them by email at info@therealsouthafrica.com. It's been a really great conversation. We've been talking for almost an hour. It is almost 9 o'clock on their end in South Africa. It is getting late for them, so I don't want to keep them too much longer. I really appreciate them giving up, this amount of time to answer all these questions. It's been wonderful, everybody who's been on here. The boy Michael says, beautiful family. Thank you so much for tuning in. M&M Motives, the bottom line, South Africa is a rainbow nation on the move. Fantastic. I like that. Yeah. Africa is definitely on the move. Africa is a place that is moving forward. I know that it does have challenges, but every place has its own unique challenges. So I think that it's important that we explore whatever is the best fit for you personally when you're making the decision to move to Africa. Choose the right country that fits what you need, that feels like home. Like you said, South Africa chose you. You have to choose the place that feels like home. So all these comments coming in. We've had a lot of people watching today. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are going to be wrapping up and letting them go because it is getting late. And I'm just going to quickly go over the information if you want to reach out to them. Their YouTube channel is The Real South Africa on YouTube. You can find them also on Instagram. You can find them also on Twitter. And you can visit their website to get more information about their travel and tours. And that's at therealsouthafrica.com. You can send them an email, info@therealsouthafrica.com. Now, I would love for the two of you to give us some final words, some final thoughts on why you think Black people in the diaspora should consider moving to an African country.
I'm going to say the reason why they should consider moving to an African country is because you don't really understand the peace that you feel when you are amongst the majority of people that are similarly looking like you. It's nice to be amongst brown people and not have to be worried about your color every single day. Even as entrepreneurs in the United States, as business owners, I still have to worry about the color of my skin when I woke up every day. And I don't have that problem anymore. I'm at peace. And if you just want to get a little bit of a feeling of what that's like, just visit an African country, and I promise you, you'll be like, why wasn't I here before?
Okay. Well, I say, if you're asking me, I would say, first of all, being in the majority is wonderful. I think sometimes some of the South Africans look at me like, why are you looking like you're in amazement? I'm like, man, y'all don't realize. If I was in Northern Virginia at the mall, there'd be a few Black people and there would be a whole bunch of white people looking at me funny and things like that. But I would say that you will learn a little bit more, a matter of fact, a lot of bit more about being African, like that African American part that we cover the American, but we don't cover the African. I would say at least come and build some relationships. Doesn't have to be here in South Africa. We would like that, but it could be anywhere on the continent. Build a relationship with people and so forth, and you would be surprised how far it would take you if you just come to Africa, build some relationships with some good people. Just don't come here and look for other Americans. Look for the people that's color coded to you. And you would be surprised, what you would learn about, for example, we talk more about the ancestors here than I've ever talked about ancestors, even though I have ancestors. In the US, we don't, that's not something that we talk about so much. But the ancestors are very, 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 very important in your life, but we don't talk about it. I didn't know that until I got here and started spending time with proper Africans.
I love that you said that. It's true, because I didn't think about that either so much until I made the move as well. And being in traditional events and cultural festivities and hearing about people calling on the ancestors. So I'm glad that you said that. So thank you so much for giving your time today. Thank you, everybody, for watching today. I appreciate it. And as I said, go follow them on their YouTube channel, which is The Real South Africa, and watch their videos, binge watch their videos. hit the notification button so you don't miss it when they upload a video, and you stay up to date with what they're sharing on their journey in South Africa. Visit their website, realsouthafrica.com. Send them an email if you need to reach out to them outside of this conversation. You can follow them on Twitter, follow them on Instagram, and then you stay up to date on everything that they are doing. Thank you so much, Mark and Latasha, for joining me today. I appreciate it, and looking forward to watching your next video.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for spending time with us today. If you like what you saw, please subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notifications button so you don't miss out on all things The Real South Africa. Thanks again.